A little wobbly, a little wibbly, a little woo whoot, you are here. Welcome. I am Witchy Woo Whoot, the Witch of Thrift. I hope you are asking, how does one become the Witch of Thrift? Well, let me explain. Having entered my crone years officially, and there being many a thing swirling and bubbling in my cauldron that is my life, things such as my children now being out on their own, and the grandchild that I raised as well, spinning their own webs in the world, as is only right. Leaving a job that was no longer suited to me, but still wanting to be self-sufficient and stable financially. What is a witch to do? I thought about the many passions I have. You may have guessed at one, that I am a bit theatrical, that a little drama here and there is a good, fun time. I also have enjoyed thrifting, literally since I was a very young child, going to Goodwills and Salvation Armies and flea markets and yard sales with my grandmother. That and a good friend saying it is time, Witchy Woo Whoot, to get on your broom and do something interesting with yourself. Well, here I am, the Witch of Thrift. I hope you will join me as often as you can. Thank you for stopping in today. Let's go thrifting. So here we are, my lovelies, at one of my favorite places in Northeast Arizona, Savers on Route 89. So here we have a beautiful princess house, wonders of the wild buffalo. I know that crystal from princess houses not necessarily have a high value, but I think he's quite delightful. At the very least, I know people to whom I could give it as a gift. So he will come into our basket. Along with this little mushroom that I have already picked up. One of my children is greatly into mushrooms, so we will add him to our cart. Now, this little elephant is quite delightful and is vintage, but unfortunately, he has quite the boo-boo on his ear. Sorry, little guy, not today. Here is an example of one of the reasons I love thrifting. This is a beautiful plate that caught my eye, and when I turned it over, so that you can read it, I am not going to try to pronounce that because I am unsure. But when I looked at listings on eBay, this same plate sold recently for $50. Granted, it was brand new. This one is still in very nice condition, and it is coming in our cart.
There's no door-to-door selling or asking for money. It's contact free.
Loving this amazing colored treat jar for dogs. So I am definitely going to look that up. Ah, this is vintage from the 50s, Glasgow. Heat resistant. If you can see, as it says, round the clock with a baby. That is definitely coming with me today. Well, it turns out that this puzzle box for dog treats is by Sonia Paws and has a decent resale value. So that as well is heading into my cart. Carefully, oh no. Perhaps not. Ha. As the crazy one would say, I will forgive it. So here we are at the end of our time here at Savers. A couple of things I did not show you as I reached them. This is something that Witchy Woo Whoot will keep for herself. I can forgive the boo-boo and touch it up. And it's just delightful and made in Mexico. This sweet little artwork is going to also be a gift for one of my children. Also made in Mexico. I think this will clean up very well. It looks like an older piece of Mexican folk art. And an ode to Gary. Sweet little picture, particularly considering that I live in the northeast of Arizona. This is a delightful little creamer. Well, that will do it for Savers. We'll be moving on. Well, I lied a bit. I happened to be walking through the men's department looking for an interesting sweater and came across this Levi's Felix the Cat sweatshirt. Vintage and in very good shape. I think I would take a chance at $14.29. Though the weather is not necessarily conducive to being out and about and thrifting, nevertheless, Witchy Woo Whoot will not be deterred. Well, here I am in the mugs section, one of my favorites, and I came across Awkward is my speciality. Seems very appropriate. In case you haven't been able to tell, Witchy Woo Whoot is a bit frightened at this beginning. Thank you for joining me and helping me along. Having realized that I ended yesterday's video at Goodwill quite abruptly as we were talking about awkwardness being a speciality, I thought I would do my ending back here in my home, and that I would show you a couple of other things that I did pick up. I don't know if you can see. Ah, there it is. The lovely, almost infant-like face on this vase with the lovely little rose attachment. It does have a signature. It is vintage, for I believe it says 1988. I believe it may be Young, perhaps someone's last name. Probably not visible for you. But I thought that this was a very interesting piece of vintage pottery, artisan made, delightful. Besides, a couple of more gifts for those whom I love I also came away with this delightful, amazing teapot. Witchy Woo Whoot will be honest, I have yet to have done any research. It is an amazing shape. One little paint chip on the inside of the wing. Nothing that would be noticeable. Here's the marking underneath. And yes, it is made in China, but it is designed by the artist Brito, if I am pronouncing that correctly. This is an item that Witchy Woo Whoot may just, well, keep for herself. So that ends our opening video. Thank you again for joining me. Please view us again. There will be a link below, hopefully if Witchy Woo Whoot can figure it out, on how to find my eBay store. It is under the name Witchy Woo Whoot, so perhaps that will not be impossible. Until next time, Witchy Woo Whoot wishes you a very Woo Whoot day.